Brigadier General Michael Torres had exactly 2 hours before his next meeting. 2 hours to show his father around Fort Bragg. 2 hours to share the world he devoted his life to. 2 hours that, unbeknownst to him, would change how an entire base viewed the quiet old man who'd driven 6 hours just to visit his son. Michael had made general at 42, youngest brigadier in the 82nd Airborne Division in 15 years. He'd earned it. 2 combat deployments, a Silver Star, a reputation for being fair, decisive, and uncompromising when it came to the standards he expected from his soldiers. But despite all his accomplishments, despite the star on his shoulder, he was still just Mike to his father. And that's exactly how he liked it. His father, Vincent Torres, was 73 years old, lean, gray hair, cropped military short out of habit more than necessity. He wore jeans, work boots, and a long-sleeve button-down shirt despite the North Carolina heat. He moved with a slight stiffness in his left shoulder, an old injury he never talked about. He'd driven up from Florida, turned down Michael's offer to fly him in, said he preferred the drive, gave him time to think. They spent the morning touring the base, the headquarters building, the division museum, the airfield where Cone 132nds and helicopters came and went in a constant ballet of organized chaos. Vincent had been quiet mostly, observing, asking the occasional question, but mostly just watching his son work, watching soldiers salute, watching subordinates seek his guidance, watching the man his boy had become. Now, at 1,100 hours, they stood outside the division's small arms range, a dozen lanes, covered firing positions, targets set at various distances. A handful of soldiers were already there, conducting qualification training. The sound of rifle fire echoed across the range in irregular bursts. Michael gestured toward the range. Thought you might enjoy seeing this. We're running advanced marksmanship training today. Some of our best shooters. He paused. You ever fire M4, Dad? Vincent looked at the range, at the soldiers, at the rifles. His expression was unreadable. Long time ago, different weapons. Michael smiled. Well, if you want, I can get you on the line. Let you try a few rounds. Totally optional. Vincent glanced at his son. You sure? Don't want to embarrass you in front of your troops. Michael laughed. Dad, you're 73. I think my reputation can handle you missing a few targets. Vincent's mouth twitched, almost a smile. All right, if you're offering. They walked onto the range. The range safety officer, a master sergeant named Dalton, saw the general approaching and immediately called out. Range is hot, general on deck. The soldiers paused, turned, came to attention. Michael waved them off, as you were, just showing my father around. Dalton approached, saluted. Morning, sir. How can I help? Michael gestured to Vincent. This is my father, Vincent Torres. I'd like to get him set up on a lane. Just a few rounds. Familiarization. Dalton nodded professionally. Of course, sir. He looked at Vincent. Sir, have you fired an M4 before? Vincent shook his head. Not this model, but I've fired rifles. Dalton smiled the way instructors do when they're about to teach someone something basic. No problem. I'll walk you through it. He gestured to an open lane. Lane 7, right this way. As they walked, Michael noticed a few of the younger soldiers watching. One of them, a specialist named Chen, leaned over to his buddy, a private named Vargas. That's the general's dad. Bet he's never even held a rifle. Vargas smirked. Probably gonna need help loading it. They both chuckled quietly. Dalton retrieved an M4 from the rack, checked it, cleared it, handed it to Vincent. All right, sir. This is the M4 carbine. Gas-operated, magazine-fed, standard issue. I'll show you how to load, aim, and fire safely. Vincent took the rifle, held it for a moment. His hands moved over it with a familiarity that Dalton didn't quite notice, checking the weight, the balance, the position of the controls. He looked up, selector switch here, bolt catch here, magazine release here. Dalton blinked. Yes sir, exactly. Vincent handed it back. Show me the sight picture. Dalton walked him through the basics. Front sight post, rear aperture, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger control. Vincent listened patiently, nodded at the right moments, didn't interrupt. When Dalton finished, he asked, You feel comfortable, sir? Vincent nodded. I think I can manage. Dalton loaded a magazine, 30 rounds. Handed it to Vincent. Targets are set at 50 yards. Take your time. No rush. Vincent inserted the magazine, pulled the charging handle, chamber around, flipped the selector to semi. Dalton stepped back, watching carefully. Michael stood behind him, arms crossed, smiling. This will be fun. His dad, trying to shoot, probably hit a few, maybe miss a few. Either way, a good memory. Vincent stepped up to the firing line, looked downrange at the target. A standard silhouette, center mass marked. He brought the rifle up, and that's when people started noticing. His stance wasn't the awkward, uncertain posture of someone unfamiliar with weapons. It was textbook. Feet shoulder width apart, weight forward, elbows in. Rifle mounted firmly in the pocket of his shoulder. His breathing slowed. His body went still. Chen, still watching from 2 lanes over, nudged Vargas. Yo, check out Grandpa. He actually looks like he knows what he's doing. Vincent's finger moved to the trigger. Slow, controlled, he fired. The shot echoed. Downrange, the target jolted. Center mass. He fired again and again and again. Methodical, rhythmic. Every shot placed with precision. No hesitation, no adjustment. Just smooth, mechanical repetition. Dalton's expression shifted from polite supervision to genuine attention. Michael's smile faded into something else. Confusion. Surprise. The soldiers on the range had stopped shooting. They were watching now, watching the old man in jeans put round after round into the same tight group at 50 yards. Vincent fired the last round, set the rifle down, selector to safe. Magazine out, chamber open. He stepped back, looked at Dalton. That acceptable? Dalton walked downrange with binoculars, looked at the target. His jaw tightened. He walked back, face unreadable. Sir, that's a 2-inch group, at 50 yards, with iron sights. That's expert level shooting. Michael stepped forward. Dad, where the hell did you learn to shoot like that? Vincent shrugged. Told you, I've fired rifles before. One of the soldiers, a staff sergeant named Palmer, approached. He'd been watching the whole thing. Sir, with respect, that's not just firing rifles. That's professional level marksmanship. You former military? Vincent glanced at Michael, then back at Palmer. Long time ago. Palmer's eyes narrowed. What branch? Marines. Palmer straightened slightly. What did you do, sir? Vincent hesitated, looked uncomfortable. Michael was staring at him now, realizing he didn't actually know. He knew his dad had served, knew he'd been in Vietnam. But they never talked about it. Not really. His dad had always deflected, changed the subject, and Michael, respecting his privacy, had never pushed. Palmer pressed. Sir, I'm former Marine Corps myself, scout sniper instructor. And I've never seen shooting that clean from someone who's just fired rifles before. What was your MOS? Vincent's jaw tightened. He didn't answer. Chen, emboldened by curiosity, called out from his lane. Come on, Pops. Don't be shy. What'd you do? Vincent turned to look at him, calm, patient. But something in his eyes made Chen immediately regret opening his mouth. Vincent rolled up his left sleeve, slowly, deliberately. And there, on his forearm, faded but unmistakable, was a tattoo. A skull, with a crosshair over one eye. And beneath it, in block letters, USMC 0317. The range went silent. Palmer's face went pale. He stepped back, came to attention, rendered a sharp salute. Sir, I apologize. I didn't know. Michael stared at his father. Dad, what is that? What does 0317 mean? Palmer answered, his voice tight. Sir, that's the MOS code for Marine Scout Sniper. Your father was a sniper. He looked at Vincent. Vietnam? Vincent nodded once. Palmer's voice dropped. How many tours? 3. Michael felt like the ground had shifted under him. 3 tours? As a sniper? Dad, why didn't you ever tell me? Vincent rolled his sleeve back down. Because it's not something you talk about. Dalton, still processing, spoke up. Sir, how many confirmed kills? Vincent's expression hardened. That's not a question you ask. Dalton backed off immediately. Yes, sir. My apologies. But Palmer, still standing at attention, couldn't let it go. Sir, scout snipers from Vietnam. That's a different level. You operated alone, behind enemy lines. High-value targets. Reconnaissance. That's not just marksmanship. That's legend. Vincent's voice was quiet but firm. It was a job. I did it. I came home, that's all. Michael found his voice. Dad, I've been in the army for 20 years. I'm a general, and I never knew you were a sniper. How is that possible? Vincent looked at his son. Because I didn't want it to define me. I did what I had to do. But I didn't want to be the sniper for the rest of my life. I wanted to be your dad. That's all. Chen, who'd been silent since making his earlier comment, stepped forward. He looked younger now. Humbled. Sir, I'm sorry. What I said earlier, I didn't mean any disrespect. Vincent looked at him. You didn't know, but now you do. So learn from it. Don't judge people by how they look. Judge them by what they've done. Another soldier, a corporal named Hayes, raised his hand hesitantly. Sir, can I ask, what was it like, being a sniper in Vietnam? Vincent was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice distant. It was lonely. You're out there for days, sometimes weeks. Just you and your spotter, waiting, watching. And when the moment comes, you have one job. Make the shot. Because if you don't, someone on your side dies. And you live with that. Every shot you take, every shot you miss. The range was completely silent now. Even the soldiers who'd been shooting had stopped. They were all listening, gathered around this old man in jeans who just revealed a past none of them had imagined. Palmer spoke again. Sir, would you be willing to show us? To teach us? We have advanced marksman training going on. And honestly, we could learn more from you in an hour than from any manual. Vincent looked at Michael. Michael nodded. Dad, if you're willing, I think these soldiers would benefit. But only if you want to. Vincent thought about it, looked at the faces around him. Young, eager, respectful now. Finally, he nodded. All right, 1 hour. But I'm not here to glorify war. I'm here to teach you how to stay alive. For the next hour, Vincent Torres became someone Michael had never seen before. He wasn't just dad anymore. He was Master Sergeant Torres, Marine Scout sniper, instructor. He walked the soldiers through advanced techniques, breathing control, trigger discipline, range estimation without equipment, reading wind, adjusting for temperature. He demonstrated shots at 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards. Every single one hit center mass. He told them about patience, about discipline, about the weight of taking a life and how you carry it forever. He told them about the men he served with, the spotters who kept him alive, the missions that never made it into official records. And he told them about coming home, about trying to be normal, about the nightmares that still came sometimes. The soldiers listened, really listened, because this wasn't a lecture. This was a testament, a window into a world most of them would never fully understand, and they respected it. When the hour ended, Palmer approached Vincent. Sir, on behalf of every Marine here, thank you. That was an honor. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the challenge coin. Marine Scout Sniper Association. I want you to have this. You've earned it 1,000 times over. Vincent took the coin, looked at it, then handed it back. Give it to one of your students, someone who's earned it. I don't need a coin to remember who I was. Palmer's eyes glistened. He nodded. Yes, sir. As Vincent and Michael walked off the range, Michael finally spoke. Dad, I've spent my entire adult life in the military, and I never knew. Why didn't you tell me? Vincent stopped, looked at his son. Because I didn't want you to follow in my footsteps. I wanted you to find your own path. And you did. You became a leader, a general. You inspire people. That's better than being a sniper. That's better than what I was. Michael shook his head. Dad, you inspired those soldiers today more than I ever could. You show them what real service looks like, what sacrifice means. I'm proud of what you did. And I'm proud of how you handled it. by staying humble. Vincent's expression softened. I'm proud of you too, son. Always have been. They stood there for a moment. Father and son, general and sniper, 2 generations of service, 2 different wars, but the same commitment, the same honor. Word spread fast on the military base. By that evening, half of Fort Bragg had heard about the general's father, the Marine sniper who shown up and outshot everyone on the range, who taught an impromptu class that left seasoned soldiers speechless, who carried a legacy he never talked about. The next morning, Michael's office phone rang. It was the division commander, a 2-star general. Mike, I heard about your father. I'd like to meet him. Can you bring him by my office? Michael brought Vincent to the headquarters building. The division commander, General Patricia Vaughn, stood when they entered. She walked around her desk, extended her hand. Mr. Torres, it's an honor. Vincent shook her hand. Thank you, ma'am. Vaughn smiled. I heard what you did at the range yesterday. My soldiers haven't stopped talking about it. And I wanted to personally thank you, not just for your service in Vietnam, but for what you shared with them. We need more of that. More connection to the history, the sacrifice. Vincent nodded. They're good soldiers, ma'am. They'll do fine. Vaughn looked at Michael. Your father is welcome here anytime. If he ever wants to speak to our troops, train them, or just visit, the door is always open. Michael smiled. Thank you, ma'am. I'll let him know. As they left the building, Vincent chuckled. Lot of fuss over an old man shooting a rifle. Michael put a hand on his father's shoulder. Dad, you're not just an old man. You're a legend. And now everyone knows it. Vincent stopped, looked at his son. I'm not a legend. I'm your father. That's all I ever wanted to be. Michael nodded. And you're the best one I could have asked for. 3 months later, Michael received a letter. It was from Corporal Hayes, one of the soldiers who'd been at the range that day. It was short. Sir, I wanted you to know I deployed to Afghanistan last month. We came under fire. I had to make a long-distance shot. And I remembered what your father taught us. Breathing, patience, discipline. I made the shot, saved my team. I'm alive because of what he shared. Please tell him thank you. CPL Hayes. Michael forwarded the letter to his father. Vincent called him that night. His voice was thick. Tell Hayes he did good and tell him to stay safe. Michael smiled. I will, Dad. And Dad? Yeah? You did good too. There was a pause. Then Vincent's voice came back, quieter. Thanks, son. Because some legacies aren't written in medals or records. They're written in the lives saved, the lessons taught, the quiet moments when a father shows his son that heroism isn't about glory. It's about showing up, doing what's right, and carrying the weight so others don't have to. And sometimes, just sometimes, picking up a rifle and reminding everyone that true warriors never stop being warriors. They just choose when to show it.